Welcome to Deep Thought. It's all about mindset. You know what? At the end of the day, I don't care what it is. It starts in your mind. Everything. That's a law of the universe, one of the 7 hermetic principles. All things are mental. So when you look at your life, when you look at the things that you're doing, you gotta look at your behavior. It's all about that mindset. Like, I'm, even though I don't like using the terms, I'll use this for an example. We all, especially people who follow some of the more, the relationship stuff, especially for men developing themselves. There's always that thing about becoming an alpha male versus a beta male. Now, I remember on my Instagram, I saved a post from somebody, and it was talking about alpha male posture versus a beta male posture. Now they use the same character, but one was slumped over, eyes were down, body language was closed, while the other one was standing tall, looking people in the eye and all of that, right? That's mindset. It's the same body, but it's a mindset thing, and even further with that relationship thing, because it's a great example of it. I've told people that, the guys who get the most women, they usually don't look any better than anybody else, including a so-called nice guy. But their mindset is different. And that mindset thing goes across everything. You could put a rich person and a poor person in the same room, and they can be about the same. They say it's 2 men. They can be the same race, the same height, everything. But one is rich, one is poor. And you look at them. In fact, they could be twins. Here's a better way of saying it, right? You get 2 twins, right? And they both get adopted. They both get adopted, but they split apart. Hey, it happens, right? One is in an environment where they become poor, right? Maybe because, most adoption agencies ain't going to give a kid to a poor family. Well, I'll take that back. Say one, for whatever reason, ends up in the foster care system, even though, and just stress me, I know there's some technical things with that, but one is in the foster care system. A lot of foster care parents, unfortunately, tend not to be like upper middle class. Usually just getting a foster kid or something to help supplement the income, right? So it's easy for them to have a poverty mentality. Whereas the other twin is raised by a rich family. Now, they look just alike, got similar DNA. But, one's got a poor mentality because that's the mindset. And then the other one has a rich mindset, even though they look just alike. That's how important it is. That's how deep it is. A lot of people think, because they're born a certain race, because they're born a certain height or born a certain gender, that's what it takes. But no, it's the mindset. It's what you think. A person can be born into a poor area where everybody else has a poor mentality, and they have for whatever reason, it could be, I don't know, it could be anything. They watched a good movie or something, or they got exposed to something on a field trip, or they happen to meet a mentor who had the right mindset, but for whatever reason, they'll have a rich mindset. And we got stories about that. People who come from nothing end up being like millionaires, even billionaires. That's because their mindset, right? And that affects every area of your life, what your thinking is. Every area. I use the example of relations. That's a good one. That's an important one. But just how you dealing with people, what you want to be entertained by, the type of friends you want. That starts in the head. See, a lot of people, too many people, they look at superficial things. They'll say they, the theys, because everybody got a they. For a black person, the theys are usually white. You know, for the white person, the theys are usually Jewish or something. And for the Jews, usually it's the moms. You know, they are oppressing us. You know, they are doing stuff. But it's like, no, it's really all in your head. You know, you can be in a poor environment and still strive for more. You know. And I think one thing that helped me in that regard is just my own background. You know, I've said before, when I was little, ironically, me, my mother, and sister were on welfare. You know, it was, and I say it's ironic because then, if you look over, but that was kind of her mindset too. I hate to say it. I mean, you know, I love my mother, but that was just her mindset because she had a mindset where she embraced poverty. Couldn't figure it out because that's not where she came from. Because her brother, he had a horse. He owned a couple horses. I actually had a pony. Imagine a kid on welfare whose uncle bought him a pony. You know, there's little girls across the country be jealous of me for that. But actually, I could actually say I had a pony. All right. And then my grandmother owned several properties. But like I said, you always had that one child who's just going to be different from the rest of the family. That was my mother. All right. But just because of that, my mindset was a little different because I got to be exposed to some other stuff. So even though I was living in a poor area, you know, my mindset was like rich. You know? So you understand it. And that's the thing. Like I coach a lot of dudes on relationships and some women too, right? You know, how to get better mates and all of that. You know, that quote unquote game. And I just use the term game as a colloquial term. You know, it's really just living life. But even then, the biggest issue is just changing somebody's mind. You know, I talk about some physical things, but those are just superficial. If you got to change your mindset, then everything else follows. You know? It's like, in fact, even though I say it's not really about the theys. One thing the theys do, they don't control you, but they do put up fences, you know, to keep you stuck at one place and try to keep you from being exposed in such a way that you're going to change your mind. Because if you get a critical mass of people who change their mindset, a lot of stuff changes in society. Now, this isn't fomenting revolution or anything. I'm just being honest. And they know it. They know it. They know if people, they know, like, if it's not the guns and everything, it's not going to change anything. You know, I give an example because a lot of people watched the Black Panther movie and got enamored with the Killmonger character because he was talking about a world revolution where blacks rise up. And I'm going to be honest, I'm Team Killmonger in the terms I liked him as a villain. I mean, I also like Magneto in the X-Men movies and Joker in the Dark Knight series. I don't mean I look at them as something that can be applied in the real world. Because here's the thing. In the real world, say we did have a Wakanda and you did have a Killmonger and he did arm some of his people to arm the rest of the people. The mindset hasn't changed, so you're going to still get some problems. That's where, if you're going to have any change, anybody out there politically minded want to change something, you don't have to remove the theys. All you have to do is change the mindset of the people. Because you have more of the people than you have of the theys. In fact, if the theys decide to stampede, the people decide to stampede, there's nothing the theys can do about it. Nothing. And that's always been the great secret. The most powerful person is the person who can move the masses. Just remember that. That anybody else is a bull. Seriously. The people who can move the masses, and that's only because that person somehow changed the mindset of the masses. So it's all about that mindset. It's all about what you're thinking. You change the thinking, everything else changes, even your physical appearance, really. When people say how that happened, it's deep. It's deep, and it takes a while. But one thing, say your mindset says, I want to start eating healthier. You know, I'm not going to put all this stuff in my body that's killing it. That'll start changing your physical, because one, you'll start losing weight. too. Your skin will get clearer. You'll have more mental clarity. Because then instead of like walking through life looking, dumb half the time, you'll start looking more intelligent. You'll start being more confident because you're feeling better. And shoot, depending on the person, can even reverse aging. There's plenty of people, they in their 50s or something, and they look very young. But it's how they think. That's why you get some bodybuilders or something like that. They're in their 50s, 60s, and 70s and stuff, and they say, look, age is a number. They don't think young. I mean, even myself, I'm 53. I don't have any problem saying it, but I swear I do not feel like 53. Seriously. I'm going to be honest. I feel like I'm 31. And it's not like some joke, like, people put their ages down. I'm like, I don't feel old. Because I still work out in the gym like about 5 hours a week. And I'm not even going hard. That's casual. If I wanted to go hard, it'd be easily be about 10, 15 a week. Easily. If I decided like to focus on going hard. But that's my mindset. I'm not like, I'm getting older and anything. My mindset is like, shit, I'm still here. So anyway, right? Keep that in mind about your mind. So we start with everything starts with the mind. Everything starts with your mindset. If you want to change something about your life, anything, it can be anything, change how you think about it. That's it. In fact, that's so deep that you can look at something and dislike it or not see its value, but you change your thinking and all of a sudden it looks genius to you. And I've said in another podcast, I constantly challenge my own false beliefs. And now I had a false belief I held for years. Just challenged this past weekend, and now I'm looking at it totally different. And now some other stuff is opening up, and I'm seeing it in a different light now. That's how powerful it is. There were some things I wouldn't have supported last week. Now I'm like, that's a genius idea. All because I changed my thinking on it. So, and actually, because I changed my thinking, I'm at peace with some things I wasn't at peace for. Like I said, look, don't look at me like some guru. I'm learning too. All right, I'm sharing stuff, but I'm still learning. I'm still growing. Because until the point I'm levitating, that's when I feel like, okay, I've learned everything. And even then, I'll be like, well, can I levitate to space? Let me think about that. Anyway, right? That's it for today. I want y'all to think on this. Peace and blessings.